be in prayer meeting tonight, would you say amen?
Amen.
This is a pretty good crowd. This side over here is just dragging a bit tonight, aren't they? But not too bad. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I believe the Lord wants to help us tonight. I intended to send a note just to encourage you to come to church, and here's what I was going to say. You all okay back there? You promised Pastor Don you were going to behave. Yeah, you don't need that book. It's all right, bro. It's just fine. I was going to send you all a note, got busy, and the note said, come to church tonight. You'll be encouraged. You'll be inspired. And God will bless your heart. You know, I believe that. Amen. With all of my heart, I believe that. So I want us to stand, and I want us to begin with I will serve thee because I love thee. You have given life to me. I was nothing before you found me. You have given life to me. Can we sing that together? Let's sing it together.
I
because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know, yes, I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. Oh, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know, yes, I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. I love this verse. How sweet to hold a newborn baby and feel the pride and joy he brings. But greater still, the calm assurance these kids can face uncertain days because he lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know, yes, I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. God, thank you so much that we can be in your house tonight. We're still rejoicing over the way you helped us Sunday. And we're still rejoicing over the young man's message where he said it was middle seat yesterday, it's middle seat today, and it'll be middle seat tomorrow. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. We're so grateful for what you're doing for us and how you're helping us. Oh God, stir our hearts tonight and bless us, I pray, for Jesus' sake in this prayer meeting. Minister to each one of us. Lord, bless us as we testify. Oh God, help people to share what God's been doing for them. It will encourage us all. And bless us later in the service as we gather and pray. Help us as we intercede before the throne of grace. Touch our hearts tonight, I pray, in Jesus' name. And all God's people said, amen. You may be seated. Well, y'all got a lot of energy. I know. So, okay, yeah, you can have a microphone, absolutely. Well, I don't know if you can have a blue microphone or not, but we'll try, okay? Okay. I don't know if we have enough microphones up here tonight, right? There we go. How about you use Pastor Don's microphone? You want to use Pastor Don's microphone? That one works. Clearly does. I'm going to grab one of these down here, okay? If you're ready to hear the kids' choir sing, would you say amen?
Amen.
Amen. Here you go, Miss Ellie.
All right,
say amen.
Amen.
I wanted to get up there with Stone Remington because that last rendition, he started going like this right here. Yep, that's what I want to do. Skip and jump with him. Well, hallelujah. Let's hear some testimonies tonight. Both of my usual helpers are missing tonight. Brother John Powell, would you help me over here on this side? Charles Webber, would you help me over here on this side? You're going to be Brother Hires tonight. You're going to be Brother John Anderson tonight. So, all right. Who would like to be? Folks, I apologize. I'm a little weary tonight, so I'm going to get tongue-tied more than once. But who would like to be the first to testify this evening? I look forward to your testimony. Sister Bennett.
Well, I appreciated both messages Sunday. And when I got home, I was writing in my Bible journal thing, and I went, well, both of them fit together. In my mind, I don't ever want to remove the landmark of Middle C. I want my children to find the way back to Middle C.
Amen.
And whatever it takes for that to happen is what I'm willing to do. I love the Lord. I'm thankful for definite answers to prayer, and I love Him.
Amen.
It's great to be in God's house on Wednesday night.
Amen.
I was thinking about this church is a landmark to me. And I remember 34 years ago this month, Pamela brought us to this church. And I've never been the same since. I love the Lord. Great to be a child of the King. And I had the privilege of spending the day with Stone Remington Parks today. So we had a great time. And there'll probably be a lot more days like that. I love the Lord. It's always great to be working for the kingdom, whatever the Lord wants, and just continue to serve Him each and every day. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Praise God. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
My heart is filled tonight with His love, and I'm thankful that I've been with Him all day, and singing that verse that you did about holding a newborn baby and the pride that it fills your heart. I remember back the time I was a first-time mom, and I held Grace, and I'm not going to cry because it's a good thing, but I remember the feeling of pride I had of holding a newborn baby. I had a first-time mom. I was excited, but you know, the hope that gave me then is even greater hope now to know that I'm going to see her again. And that was the whole purpose of having children, was to have them to live for Him, and that He would have them and to take them on to heaven. That's the whole purpose of glorifying God. And I'm excited that Paige came home last night and was very excited about youth night, and she had had an opportunity to talk to someone that is very hungry for salvation. Just watching the excitement in her, that she got an opportunity to share and talk, to tell them the love of God is more precious than anything on this earth. And it excites me that my children walk in the way of Him, and that's my goal, is to see my children make it to heaven.
Amen. Amen. Thank the Lord. Brother Gene?
I do love the Lord tonight. He's been good to me, and it seemed like about 10 days ago, the devil was on attack mode. My things were going wrong, and I was getting frustrated, but found that scripture, and the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord will lift up a standard against him. So
That's right.
that's proven true, and I love the Lord and want to serve Him.
Amen. Amen. Brother Terry.
I figure while he's on this side, I might as well testify. Amen. Well, I feel blessed tonight. Up there at the bus barn, you see so many people, they keep saying, praise the Lord, which is good, but then their lives do not measure up. I'm glad tonight that I used to hear my dad preach quite often. They won't endure sound doctrine in the last days. And people have itchy ears, you know. They want to go to a church. You know, people think, well, that's all I need to go to a church. But we know there's more than that. And I want to be able to lead them and show them that there is a better way. Amen. It'll get us to heaven. There'll be no doubt about it if we do what God asks us to do. So I feel blessed tonight, and I just want to praise Him.
Praise God. Amen. For that.
talking to Mom, was just talking about like, you know, being at work and, you know, I just hear people just, words that come out of their mouth and, you know, she was just talking to me like, you have to be an example, you have to be, you are different than them, and I am, and it's just like, like my boss uses a word, I'm just like, and these people, some of them, they go to church, and I'm just like, the words that come out of their mouth, I'm like, I don't know whether to say anything or not, I just don't, and I'm just like, if I don't say anything, then how can I, it's like, how do they know that I'm different? And I'm just like, I always want to be careful, because I don't want to throw it down to somebody like, hey, don't, you're not a Christian or whatever, you know? But I know that it's just being different is probably the best example, and not being like them, not saying words that they say is probably I'm thinking is maybe the best example that I can be. And I want to always be an example in front of people. I always want to show that I'm different, I'm a Christian, I don't use that kind of language, I don't appreciate it and everything. But sometimes I feel like the things I say, I don't want to say something wrong and make them feel like that they're not a Christian. Because I mean, what I'm trying to say here, I'm not the judge, but you know, I feel like one time I said, I told everyone, I say what it comes out of your mouth defines who you are. And I think, I'm sorry.
It's okay, you're trying hard to be a witness.
Yeah, I just want to be that witness to these people. They're
Amen.
lost.
Amen. Amen. Brother George, I'm glad you're here tonight.
Well, I'm glad to be here. If I was went by my feelings, I would not be here. But Lord said, you know, if you're able to go out for doctor's appointments or go shopping, well, you should be able to go to church. I just thought that was right. It was a good priority. I just love the Lord tonight, and I'm hoping to get rid of some of this pain Monday. Get a shot back in that area of my spine that's giving me some pinched nerve. I just love the Lord tonight, and I know He's the one that's going to take us all the way through, and I'm depending on Him tonight. I love Him.
Amen. Amen. Praise God. Who's next? Sister Russell. It's good to see you tonight. On this beautiful rainy spring day.
It's wonderful just to get my body here tonight.
Amen.
I tell you, I just missed this so much. But I have to tell you, I have to thank all of you for your prayers. Because that's the only thing that's kept me going from day to day, is just knowing that God's people is praying for me.
Absolutely.
Because I know, without a doubt, in this last week or so, I probably would have just gone on to heaven. And it would have been okay with me, but only if He's ready for me. But I guess, you know, I said, dear Lord, if you're ready for me, I'm ready for you. It's okay. But you know, when I get the feeling down, God has a way of just sending the right person to call and needing prayer. And it's wonderful to be a prayer warrior. I love being people feeling comfortable calling me and asking me for prayer. It just thrills me to no end. And I tell you, it just, I have this big long list. I go down and I pray for every one of you, so that every one of you get prayed for.
Amen.
But I love serving my Lord. It just seems like Satan is doing everything in his power to bring me down. He knocks out my computer. He knocks out my telephone. I've been so censored by the government that I'm just sick of it. It's just the last technician at least showed me how to bring my computer back up, so I can get the computer to come back up now. But I tell you, it's so annoying when I start to type a message in there and it just goes, down it goes. and I try to go back to that message, and the whole message is gone. What I was typing a response to, the message is gone. I tell you what, this government is really playing havoc on the American citizens. And I tell you what, I know he's still in control.
Amen.
Amen.
And that's what I told my oldest boy down there in Georgia this week. I said, I just keep holding on because I know God is still in control.
Amen.
He said, Mom, you have taught all of us that. And he said, we are holding on. He said, it will, they are starting slowly, it's going to come to pass. He said, they are going to bring him down, God will bring him down. So he said, just keep hanging on. So here I am, and I made it to church tonight.
Amen.
So I am thrilled to death to be here with all of you tonight.
Amen. Mr. Russell, I talked to the Lord today, and he told me to tell you it's going to be another 15 years before he calls you home. So hang in there. No, that's not necessarily true, but I want you to hang around for at least another 15 years. Sister Lucy, it's good to see you tonight.
Well, I'm glad to be here too. Sister Russell and I are on the same page. It's just not kind of like living, you know, when you're just sitting there watching the service and you want to be there. It's just a whole lot better to be there. Illustration came to me as I was sitting here with my mother and dad. When they went to church, they had 6 kids. And they told them, you cannot sit any farther back than the 5th row. Now, unfortunately, my girlfriends were sitting on the 5th row too. And that's the only spanking I got was from talking and laughing. And once I got started laughing, I couldn't stop. And it still happens that way today. But you know, my mother and dad, they had a tape recorder between them. And when she was done with this tape recorder, when she went home, she gave us kids, if we wanted them, these tapes, you know, those old-fashioned cassette tapes. Well, we had our mothers singing. We knew our mothers sang, but we never heard our daddy except on that tape. On that tape, we heard our daddy singing. And I thought, you know, our lives are kind of like that old cassette recorder. It just takes in a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff about us. And you know, we can have the good stuff coming out if the Holy Spirit's working in our lives. And I just want to thank all of you for your prayers. When I would think of this crowd of people on Sundays, and I'd think, well, you know what? They're praying for me. And it gave me great grace to live inside a hospital where I'm telling you, God's inside and outside those hospitals. He's
Praise
everywhere
God.
we are.
That's right.
And if you end up with a herniated disc, you know, George doesn't let out any oaths of pain. When he's in pain, he says, oh my. He's not cursing God like some people do, you know. It's wonderful to live with George. You all don't have that opportunity, but I do. And what's amazing is to say that, yes, that's George. That's the man I've lived with for 54 years. And they perk up their ears and they're like, how in the world did you do that? Well, I tell you, it takes God on both directions. And I love him tonight. I love all you people. And this little girl wants me to hold her hand. I better shut up.
Sister Lucy, I'm not going to get you in trouble for sitting on the back row and not the 5th row, okay? I promise. You're all right. Who else has a testimony? These are all so good. Avery, do you have a testimony, bro?
Thank you, Lord, for helping us.
Okay. Thank you very much, I'll get the translation after church. Good. Brother Rod?
Been thinking about the journey. Life's a journey.
That's
You know,
right.
Jesus passed by and touched Rod Moore.
Amen.
It changed my life. It brought me out of deep sin. It changed the way I talked. It changed the places I went. It cleaned me up, and I'm so grateful for that tonight. I was raised in a poor home where we fought and drank beer and carried on. I was thinking about my brother. He was in a bar one night, and him and my cousin got in a fight with this guy, and they took the fight outside and went out back, and the guy pulled a gun out, shot my cousin, and killed him. He turned the gun on my brother, and the gun jammed. And when the cops got there, my brother had him on the ground just beating him and Paul. But anyway, God delivered me from that kind of a life. Just cleaned me up, and I'm so grateful for the journey. I appreciate it. There's been times when I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it, but you know, God showed up, and He just put His arms around me. He didn't criticize me. He loved me, brought me up to Him, and pulled me through it. I appreciate that tonight. I'm thankful for the journey, and I just appreciate being a Christian tonight, and I thank Him.
Praise God. Praise God. Sister Paula?
God is so good. I am reminded of how He's taken care of me all the time. And a lot of people have said how we know who is fighting us all the time. And I heard a new verse. It's not new. It's Exodus 14:14. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. I am holding on to that and a lot of other verses that He promises. He promises He'll be with us. He has been with me, He is now, and I know He will be, and I love Him.
Praise God. Praise God. Anyone else? Well, thank the Lord.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Enter
That's what
into
it
His
says.
gates with thanksgiving and into His
Right.
courts with praise. I want to praise Him and thank Him for all He's doing, and that He's drawn us here to be part of this. It's a privilege. It's really wonderful. I want to praise Him for His saving, sanctifying power, just power from on high that makes things happen, that makes people clean and pure, and fills them with the Holy Spirit. I just thank Him for that power, and I'm blessed to be part of this.
Praise God. Thank the Lord. Anyone else? Sister
The
Shirley.
joy of the Lord is our strength.
Amen.
I love Him tonight with all my heart. He's been so good to me. And I'm so thankful for the privilege of being in God's house tonight.
Amen. Amen. Brother Powell, you act like you're wanting to testify. so-
Well, I do, and I don't know if I can keep it short.
Well, okay.
No, if I told you everything, in fact, I tried to do a download with Brother Bates last, what was it, earlier, maybe Monday, I don't remember when. Anyway, when I came back, no, it was Saturday night, I said I just need 15, 20 minutes just to go over some things from our trip. 2 hours later, I was still debriefing, so it was just, I can't put into words what God is doing for NCS. God is helping day after day, moving on the young people, speaking to hearts in ways that we could have never imagined or dreamed. And I just thank Him and praise Him for how He's moving there. And I thank Him for how He's helping me. The messages, Brother Bates, have just stirred my heart. You know, the Sunday morning and the landmarks. I want to be that one that'll build it up and point people back to the right way. I was thinking, Sister Shirley mentioned the joy of the Lord. It brought back, just recently watched a message online, and the preacher was talking about intimacy with God. And he was using, similar to the Song of Songs, using the love relationship between a couple and likening that to us and God. And he was talking about us getting intimate with God and drawing close to God, and He revealed Himself to us. And He used the terminology that they use in the Bible where Adam knew Eve and she bore sons. But He made the comment that God didn't save us, or didn't save you to become a soul winner. He saved you to make a bride out of you. And I thought, how true. I want to be part of the bride. And He said, if you'll just draw nigh to me, I'll draw nigh to you. If you reveal yourself to me, become intimate with me, I'll become intimate with you. And out of that intimacy, young lambs would be born. We're seeing it happen in our school, and I'm so thankful. He made the other comment that when the people came to him and they said, Lord, we've cast out devils in your name. We've done all these things in your name. And he looked at him and he said, he used that terminology again, I never knew you. I don't recognize your face. I've never seen you in my bedchamber before. I've never seen you in an intimate way before. I don't want to stand before God and find out that I've done all this work all for nothing because I didn't have an intimate relationship with Him. I want Him to be my all in all. I want Him to be the reason that I do what I do and give Him all the glory and all the praise. Praise His name.
Amen. Anyone else? Thank you so much, my brothers. I appreciate it very, very much. Hey, bro, you did a good job. Brother Hires might get fired if he just doesn't know again. I'll tell him later tonight. He's not feeling well. He's fighting a sinus infection. And so thank you for your help. On Wednesday nights, we have, for people that are part of our church that would like to become members, and they're not becoming members by transfer, we have a membership program now that is it's supposed to be about a 6-week curriculum where we talk about who we are as a church, what we believe, what our doctrine is, what our historical background is, what we believe on a host of issues. And Charles has been part of that now for several weeks, and Adam joined us tonight. And I just want to tell you, I think I'm getting more good out of it than they are, because it's been exciting to me to start talking about what God does for us in justification and regeneration and adoption and watching both of them learn to just fly through their Bibles and find scriptures. It blesses my heart. But I think it's good for all of us every once in a while to remember what God has done for us. Amen. And I do want to echo one thing Principal Powell said. It's very, very obvious that God has gloriously saved one of our teenagers. And I've preached to him all year. Just carried a very heavy burden. Really, almost feel like I've preached to him blue in the face to him. But I told him today, who knows but what here in the waning moments of the school year, God is going to give us a real revival among our young people. Folks, I'm praying that way. We've only got 2 or 3 chapels left, but I'm believing God that will be the case. And what happened last week is just the beginning, I believe, of what God is beginning to do with our young people. And I could not be happier with how the Lord is helping us. And I couldn't be happier with Principal Powell and Miss Poe and the hard work that they're doing in the school. And we owe them a debt of gratitude for everything that they're doing. And God is helping us. And I'm trusting Him to help us to have a good finish to this school year. And I believe the Lord is going to help us. Listen, Roger said if I didn't do this, he was going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. We didn't, and you might not have come prepared to give a love offering. That's okay if you didn't. But we had a guest preacher Sunday night, and we gave him a love offering. And a month ago, we had a guest preacher, and this poor guy didn't even think about giving him a love offering. And I messed up, folks. I should have. Here's the caveat. It's my son. And so it's difficult for me to say that. But several of you came to me after church Sunday night and said we should have taken up a love offering for Blake for preaching. So, Lee, would you come to the piano, folks? You mind just, I took out every dollar that I had in my little wallet that I carry around, and he doesn't, Blake's not here tonight, he's in brain therapy right now, and the Lord's helping him, but is it okay that we take up a love offering for him? Is that all right? So ushers, would you come and put the plates in place, and we'll just have a little offertory music, and then whatever comes in this offering plate, we're gonna give it to Blake. All right? Is that all right? So let's stand, and the Lord bless you as you give, and then we're gonna take some prayer requests and close in a season of prayer. So God bless you as you give. bless us and help us Sunday. I'm so encouraged at what God is doing. And I just believe that He is beginning to stir the waters in people's hearts. And I'm trusting the Lord to give us a good day. And I hope you'll join me in praying that He'll meet with us. Let's pray for Lee and Jill. Jill's grandma passed away, and her funeral's tomorrow. I believe tomorrow, right at 1 o'clock. And let's pray. Her family just got in right before church. And so let's pray for Jill's family, that God would be with them in this time of sorrow. Let's pray for George and Joyce Howe. Listen, let me announce to you, George may be tuned in tonight. George is not able really to talk on the phone. His voice is really going. But George can have visitors. And if you're so inclined to go visit George, how he would enjoy seeing you. And so I wanted to let you know that. I want to post a note on the Facebook page that if you want to go visit George, you're able to do that. And Joyce as well. You have to make an appointment to go see Joyce. But Joyce is in that nursing home that's over by Community South. But she would love company as well. And I want us to pray for them tonight that God would touch them and help them. And this is just a challenging season for them. And Brother Sandley, God is helping Brother Sandley. I see him about once a week, normally on Sunday afternoons, and I tell you what I love the most about talking to him. His testimony is so clear, just crystal clear. But you know, he's really doing okay right now. It's just rather amazing. Here he is in this palatial hospice house, and yet he's just kind of living like a king at the moment. But let's continue to pray for Brother Stanley. Very, very lonely, very lonely. And when I pray with him, I just thank the Lord for Holy Spirit comfort. Because I want to tell you something. Thank God for the comfort of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I want us to pray for him. And like I mentioned, Blake's at brain therapy tonight. Let's remember him in prayer. And kind of as an unspoken request, this young person that Paige was able to talk to last night, it is one of, it's a young lady that needs the Lord. And God is dealing with her. And I just believe that God wants to save her, and I believe He can save her before this school year's out. And so I want you to pray for this. We'll leave it as an unspoken request, but let's pray for this young lady tonight that God would help her. What prayer requests do you have that you want to share with us tonight before we pray? Brother Romans?
Brother Bates, Verna has a niece. Her name is Skylar. And she's always had a weight problem, so she went and had her stomach stapled. Now she can't even swallow her saliva. So she's back in the hospital. I don't know what's going to happen. It is kind of serious. So appreciate your prayers for her.
Skylar?
Skylar.
Okay. Let's remember Skylar as we pray. Who else? Yes, ma'am. Who's? Oh, okay. All right. Find the bug, or? Okay. Let's pray for them and pray for Ruth Roseberry. Who else has a prayer request tonight? Sister Russell.
I would like to, I know you guys have all been praying for me anyway, but I would like to just say that I'm going to be going in the week of the 7th of May and have tubes and stuff ran down into my stomach to see what they can do to help me out. But I just need a special touch, just that the doctor can fix whatever's wrong. I mean, he said it's for years been on steroids, that it's just tearing the lining of my stomach and my esophagus and everything. It's just being torn apart from years of steroids. I don't have any choice with that. I've got to take that stupid stuff. I told him, I said, you know, maybe I need to quit taking that. He said, well, I don't think I would want to recommend that. But he said, right now, he said, let's see if we can find a way. He said, if I can coat everything, make you better. He said, I want to help you in any way I can.
Let's
So
pray.
I just need a special touch to try to I'm trying to make me better.
I understand. Let's pray. You're going next week? Is that what you said?
The appointment, I gotta go have a sort of COVID test done first before he can put me in there to have it done. But it's the appointment the 7th of May.
Okay.
When I go get it done. But I
All right.
gotta go get the COVID test the 4th of May, so make sure I'm healthy before they do anything.
Understood.
I
for Sister Russell. Who else has a, you want me to mention it more as unspoken? Another young person in our church, that's been requested. It would just beg God to help this individual to listen to the voice of God, that God would speak to him. And I share this burden. You know, it's difficult. None of us can explain or ascertain when someone first hears the voice of God. My sister was in the 2nd grade when she got saved. My sister Donetta was in the 2nd grade when God gloriously saved her. And yet others, Dr. Dale Yoakum was 4 years old, and they were playing church, and his sister was preaching, and she gave an altar call, and God spoke to his heart. And as a 4-year-old boy, he gave his heart to Jesus. But it's very unique as to when someone really hears the voice of God and listens. And folks, we've got young people that I'm carrying the burden that they will hear the voice of God, like Samuel did. Poor Eli was so lost, he didn't realize it was God talking. And Samuel came running in there and said, "You've called for me." No, I haven't. You're hearing things. Go back to bed. Went back to bed, heard a voice again. You called for me. Eli, you called for me. No, it wasn't me. And finally it dawned on poor backslidden Eli that maybe Samuel was hearing from heaven and said, "Boy, the next time you lay down, if you hear that voice again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth.'" And I'm begging God to help some of our young people hear the voice of God. Amen. And when they do, to respond, to say yes to Jesus. And I share this burden with you tonight. I've been carrying this burden with one of our people, and I share it with you and ask you to pray. Anyone else have a prayer request tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Pray for a family member that is going to have back surgery on June the 14th. And she has a lot of other medical issues, and she tunes in a lot.
Okay.
And just pray for her and the whole family. And her uncle had a stroke, and just pray for him too.
Okay. All right.
Brother Bates, I
Yes.
just would like to say we need to pray for our country.
Oh, we sure do.
Our country, I think, is in far worse situation than we even realize. Amen. We
Right.
need to pray that God will either save some of these leaders or get rid of them. Remove them from their influence and their position, because
So need God to
they're
help
taking
us.
us down a dark road.
Yes, you're right. You're right. We so need God.
Continue to remember Dennis's mom. She sees the pulmonologist, I believe it's May 5th, so we
Okay.
get some answers. She just is struggling to breathe with any kind of exertion.
Okay. I almost welcomed this new couple that was sitting in so I get used to people sitting in certain places, and I look back, I thought, well, we have a new couple tonight. Then I realized we didn't have a new couple tonight. Let's pray for Sister Palmer. Anyone else have a prayer request? Yes, ma'am.
I have a special expulsion request.
All right. Let's pray for this. It's very important. Yes, Ethan. Pray for Trey and Annalisa. Yes, let's pray for Trey and Annalisa. Thank you, Ethan. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right, let's remember this. All right. Anyone else? I'm sure we have unspoken requests. The Lord sees every need. Would you, those of you that can, would you gather in? Lee, do you know, since Jesus passed by, oh, what a difference since Jesus passed by. I just, when Rod testified that way, I thought that would be a good song to sing, but it'd be a good song to pray to. So let's gather in, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and anoint Brother George. Brother George, I want you to stay put. I don't want you to come up here because you don't need to walk this distance, but I'm going to come back and anoint you, okay? But I want us to just lift our voices in prayer and ask God to help us. Folks, we should pause and thank God for His goodness and His faithfulness and His grace. But at the same time, we should bring every one of these burdens to the Lord, because God wants to hear our burdens. You know that? God wants to hear our burdens. God wants to hear our prayers. And so there's so much that we need to bring to Him. And so let's do it tonight. Lord, we've sensed your sweet presence in our midst tonight. And we're grateful. We're grateful that you're here. You touched our hearts tonight, Lord. Oh, God, we thank you for these notes of victory. We thank you for how you're touching people. Lord, we thank you that you're talking to people. Oh, God, we have young people that we want you to talk to, Lord. We pray that you would. We ask you to talk to them, Lord. Speak to their hearts, I pray, for Jesus' sake. And Lord, when you talk to them, help them to listen. Help them to say yes to you, I pray, blessed Jesus. Oh, God, we pray that you would continue to move. Lord, we believe you're starting a revival in our school. Oh, I pray that the revival would continue, blessed Jesus. Oh, Spirit of God, undertake and help us, I pray. Oh, God, we lift all of these requests to you tonight. Every one of these needs are very important, Lord. Oh, God, George and Joyce out need a touch from you, God. Sister Palmer needs a touch from you. Sister Russell, Lord, these unspoken requests. God, every one of these needs are important, and we lift them to you tonight. And, oh, God, we saw our dear brother George Creech hobble down the aisle, and it broke our hearts. And we're sorry that he's going through this, and so we anoint him with oil tonight in the name of Jesus. And we ask you to touch him tonight, Lord. Oh, God, I know you're able, and in Jesus' name I pray that you would touch him tonight. I pray it sends healing virtue just now. So in Jesus' name, help him, I pray, for Jesus' sake. Oh, God, we lean on you tonight. We trust you tonight, Lord. Lord, the one going for a stress test, help them tonight, I pray. Be with them. Oh, God, every one of these requests, touch every need. Lord, we pray for Ruby and Mary tonight that you would touch them and help them tonight, Lord. Oh, God, minister to our every need. We pray for Jill and her family tonight that you would be with them and comfort their hearts tomorrow, I pray. Blessed Jesus, help them. And during this time of grief, and may they sense your grace and help. And then, Lord, very soon we'll begin to prepare our hearts for Sunday. And, oh, God, we're trusting you to help us. We pray and speak to hearts. Lord, our hearts are heavy that there are some that it appears you've not talked to them. Oh, we ask that you would. We ask the Holy Spirit to speak to them, Lord. Help them to say yes to you, blessed Jesus. Oh, God, we thank you for what you're doing. We thank you that you're here tonight. Be with us as we leave this place. Keep us in your care the rest of the week. Oh, God, we do take a moment and pray for our nation. God, we need you. Oh, God, America is in bad shape. Lord, we don't want to believe that it's your judgment, but if it is your judgment, we're asking Oh, God, I thank you for Ethan's prayer requests. I pray for Trey and Elisa tonight, that you'd be with them and help them. I pray, Lord, that you would continue to minister to our every need, blessed Jesus. So have your will and way tonight, I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Praise God. Praise God. Thank the Lord. God bless you.